tornado warning that has just popped up for the area. This is in the Sealy area, just north of the I-10 corridor, moving towards the northeast at 25 miles an hour. Again, if you are in this cone, I'm going to put a tracker on it here to show you the immediate neighborhoods that are under threat. Mount Zion Church area, this is the area of rotation that is directly on top of you. Sunnyside, same spot for you. Sky Drive, Houston. This area of rotation is headed in your direction next. Waller, in about 30 minutes time, that's when it should be approaching your neighborhood. And if it holds together, Hockley would be impacted after that, right around 12:20. Again, this is a severe thunderstorm that the National Weather Service has flagged for the potential of rotation. That means tornado possibility is something that is imminent with this particular cell. I'm going to show you a couple of different areas within the Mount Zion Church that have that possibility for rotation. I'll turn on our velocity tracker for us to get a better look at that. This is the debris detector that shows us nothing really suspended aloft with this particular scan. However, that is going to be a possibility that we monitor over the next few minutes. This tornado warning is in effect for the next 30 minutes. I'll turn on velocity for us, and that is the rotation tool that we have in order to assess what is going on in that polygon. You'll notice that bright green buckled in with the red signature, and even that purple little marker that has just shown up there. It shows that potential of debris starting to become a higher possibility. So when we have the buckling of the green and the red, it shows us that the thunderstorm is starting to rotate. Green is air that is moving towards the radar. Red is air that is moving away from the radar. And you'll notice that tight little button right there, just north of Sealy, west of FM 359 Road. So close to Monteville is where we're seeing that rotation detector. If you are in this polygon, now's the time that you would head to the interior space of your home, whether that be a closet or a bathroom, whatever area inside of your home that is furthest away from the exterior walls and windows. Try to be away from an immediate impact. If this were to be a tornado, it would be most disruptive around the perimeter of the home. Again, this warning is going to last us for the next 30 minutes. In addition to the rotation, which is the most imminent concern, this storm is strong in the sense that it's got some wind associated with it, and it is producing some pea-sized hail. This is a threat that we are going to be monitoring throughout the afternoon. We've got this tornado warning at the moment, and we've also got a special weather statement in the vicinity, not to mention the main line of thunderstorms is still a few hours away. So I am going to zoom in and try to give you a better look at Southeast Texas, I should say, at the immediate time, and then give you a timeline for the main line of storms getting into Southeast Texas as we go into the later evening hours. Again, we're interrupting your programming because we've got a tornado warning. Some storms started to fire off in our western cities and counties, and now they're starting to intensify. These storms are going to have the possibility of rotation throughout the afternoon into the evening, which is why we're under a weather impact alert. Tornado warning for some rotation spotted just north of Sealy, headed towards the northeast along FM 362 there at around 25 miles an hour. So this is a slower moving storm, but it's got rotation, not to mention it's got hail as well, and the possibility of some gusty winds, whether they rotate or not. This other polygon that you see out ahead of it also has the potential of seeing what we call land spouts developing. So that means that the actual thunderstorm isn't creating the rotation from the base of the cell, but rather we're seeing rotation at the ground meeting up with the thunderstorm activity. Both are equally as dangerous. They could be equally as strong. So if you are in this area, again, so this is west of Katy, this is west of Cypress, this is between 290 and the I-10 corridor, Hempstead down to Sealy. That is the area that is producing a severe thunderstorm that has the possibility of putting out a tornado. if you're in this area, go inside an interior space. So take your phone or turn up the TV as you head into that interior space, just to make sure you are protected by the exterior walls of your home. This particular zone, and I'm going to put the tracker on it, could see impacts here in the next few minutes. So SkyDrive, over the next 30 minutes, that's where the cell is headed to next. And then beyond that, if it holds together, Hockley would be an area that sees the impacts from the strong to severe thunderstorm as we go into the afternoon. But for now, the polygon is warning the area just north of Sealy. So again, Mount Zion Church is in that polygon, and we'll keep an eye on this at least until that severe thunderstorm, that tornado warning, goes down, which is set to expire here at 12 o'clock in the afternoon. This is the main line that is going to give us another push of severe weather potential as we head into the evening. That particular line at the moment is not producing severe thunderstorms. We are going to take a live look at a TransStar camera, which is along the Katy Freeway, giving us a very defined look at some supercells now starting to form. So you could see that leading edge of that dark thunderstorm starting to give some widespread rotation. So within that wide area of rotation is where we are going to be tracking individual couplets developing, which is what we have just seen pop up north of Sealy. If those individual couplets start to tighten up, they start to reach the ground, or vice versa. We could see some rotation from the ground meet up with that supercell and in fact spit out a tornado. So if you're in this area, try to get to a safe space. Not a good idea to be out on the road today at all. This is why we've issued that weather impact alert. The potential for severe thunderstorms is with us throughout the afternoon, and it actually only goes up the later on in the day we go. So this is just the very beginning of what is going to be a very active day for us. Our atmosphere is primed and ready for severe storms. We've got all the ingredients in place. The heat and the humidity that we've had the last couple of days, that's now starting to clash with this incoming cold front that is moving into the area. Both of these systems pushing in together brings us a couple different severe threats. First and foremost, the wind is veering, so wind in opposite directions at opposite heights is what creates rotation. So because of that, we're going to keep an eye on all these different cameras. So we'll give you the bird's eye view of what it looks like, which looks pretty ominous with those dark clouds. And then inside the actual thunderstorm, we are tracking rotation as well. So once more, a tornado warning has been issued north of the I-10 corridor, pushing towards the northeast. This particular warning lasting us another 20 minutes or so. It does bring us the threat of tornadoes in addition to the threat of some localized hail. The hail in and of itself isn't giving me too much concern. It's smaller hail at that. However, it's still something that is a severe threat for us today. We've got straight line wind threats, we've got rotating wind threats, and yes, we've got the potential of a couple of larger hailstorms later on tonight. There's another view looking out northwest, and now we're taking a look at, what's that camera? What's the direction of that camera? What's the Mushki? Okay, northwest at Mushki. Traffic, is moving freely. There's no rain in that particular area, but you could see from the vantage point that there are some severe storms pushing in. This is our first round of rain that is moving from the southwest towards the northeast. So these are climbing up Colorado County, pushing into Austin County, and then eventually they'll start to trek towards northwest Harris County and into Montgomery. So the polygon right now, again, north of Sealy towards Peters. I'm going to get a little bit closer just to give you some street level names of where I'm looking at. So Peters right now is an area that is under the tornado warning. So if you live there, take some shelter. If you live on Sunnyside, take shelter. You want to be inside of your home and again in an interior space. Monteville, you're going to be up next. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes for that rotation to get into your home, so you have plenty of time to get to that interior space and ride this out. It is going to be a long day for us, so radar is showing us we've got some rotation within these thunderstorms, and some of that could very well be reaching the ground. So I'll turn on velocity again to give you another scan. Unfortunately, we're getting some bad scans. So you see that last little image there. I'm going to stop it right before that. So there's a slowed down version of what I'm seeing, and luckily it looks like it's starting to widen out a bit. You'll notice how the scan about 10 minutes ago was showing a pretty tightly wound clash of that green and red. One more time, that explanation of the colors that you're seeing there. Green is air that's moving towards the radar, red is air that's moving away from the radar. When both of those are butted up like that very tightly, it means we're seeing the rotation. Now if I give you the next couple of scans, there's still rotation there, and there's still that couplet in the middle, but widening just a little bit. Regardless, there's still a couplet, and it is moving towards Sunnyside. So it's actually almost directly over Sunnyside, and from then on it'll move towards Monteville. So if you live along FM 359 road or 362 road, you are asked to find that safe space. If I give you a wider look, this is moving from Austin County towards Waller County, and then eventually it is going to push towards northwest Harris County. So that is the polygon, that is the area that has that rotating couplet. North of Sealy, north of Pattison, right over Monteville. Burley, that's another area that's impacted. Sunnyside, again, you're a spot that's seeing that rotation right now. I'm gonna give you a loop over the last, how about 15 minutes? Let's give you a scan of the last 15 minutes. So still seeing that couplet. It's a little bit wider than it was, but still showing spin in the atmosphere. And really, we're gonna have spin throughout the day. So you'll notice how the surrounding area just has a lot of green. That means this is just air that's moving towards the radar, which makes sense. We're seeing a big push of Gulf moisture. If you stepped outside today, you probably noticed it's really humid and it's really warm, and that is a signature, a telltale sign that our atmosphere is gaining tension with all those storms that are in Dallas. Those are fast approaching, and so it really builds in instability, is what we call it, in the atmosphere. When it's this warm and this humid, and we've got a push of colder air moving in just ahead of it, it can create these little rotating couplets. So right now rotation has been detected, and it's something that we are going to be monitoring until the National Weather Service lifts that warning. If you're just joining us right now, we have a tornado warning issued by the National Weather Service. This is for Washington County into Austin County, pushing towards Waller northeast at 25 miles an hour. So I am checking in with the National Weather Service right now, and kind of like what we just saw, they too are agreeing that that couplet that we've been monitoring is widening out. It is unlikely that that is a tornado, but the rotation is still around. Okay, so this is better news. This is good. It looks like they are not going to reissue that tornado warning. So once this storm pushes out of Austin County and moves towards Waller, it looks like they will allow this tornado warning to expire. However, I want you to keep an eye on radar throughout the day. There's been discussion by the National Weather Service also to issue a tornado watch for today, which means we've got several hours to monitor this. While this particular couplet does show that signs of widening like we saw in the last few runs, which means it likely isn't giving us rotation on the ground, there's still rotation aloft. And anytime there's a rotating massive air on top of us, there's the potential to get isolated couplets. So that is why we're under a weather impact alert day today. What does that mean for you? You need to try and cancel plans this afternoon, and especially as we go into this evening, because it's actually just going to get a little bit worse the later on in the day that we go. So an update here, the latest scan shows this is pushing a little bit more east-northeast at this point. This tornado warning is set to expire in the next 15 minutes. We're going to be live here on air for the noon hour, and then we will be streaming right after the new newscast on KHOU 11 Plus, and that is where you can find information throughout the day. If you check in your TV and we're not live, we're going to be live on KHOU 11 Plus. We're going to be giving you updates on social media as well, and you can always check KHOU.com to track radar with us as well. You want to keep an eye on this throughout the day, because this is just the very beginning of our active weather day, Monday. So we've got a weather impact alert for the threat of exactly what we're seeing right now. Isolated tornadoes, gusty wind, and the potential of some small hail. You'll notice even aside from the tornado warning, this white polygon there, that is a special weather statement. So what that means is that the National Weather Service is watching these individual storms for them to gain intensity at any moment's notice. So when they're in the white outline like that, it means they're just barely under severe criteria, but they can intensify and become severe thunderstorms. And you'll notice behind this first round of moisture that we've got here, there's another line of storms, and these also have the potential of becoming severe, and this is what's going to bring us a more widespread sweeping motion. One more time, this is a look at the rotation detector, so you'll notice it was a really tight gradient here between the green and the red. This is why we were concerned for the potential of a tornado, but now you'll notice the rotation is a little bit wider. There's still, you know, the green, which is air towards the radar, and the red, which is air away from radar. We still have a widespread rotation, but it's not as tightly wound, which is actually a good thing. Bottom line, a weather impact alert means you need to be mindful, and it's going to be intensifying throughout the day. In fact, the biggest severe threat is still ahead this evening. So from 8 to the overnight hours, that's when the main line is going to drop in from DFW, passing through the 35 corridor, and then reaching us here in Houston. All of these threats are on the table ahead of the line, during the line's passing, and a couple could be trailing behind that line as well. So I want you to halt your travel plans if you can help it. Otherwise, make sure you get an update before you try and go through with anything. Here's a snapshot of the next few hours. So we're looking at 1:30 now. There's the couplet that we're kind of tracking. So this particular model run is initializing well. It means it is assessing what's happening in the atmosphere accurately. And so it gives us a good synopsis as to what's going to happen up ahead over the next few hours. So throughout the afternoon, these couplets are going to continue to push towards the northeast. Any one of these could get that tag of either a special weather statement or a severe statement. Really, sometimes it's just splitting hairs. They're strong storms nonetheless, so it is going to be disruptive, and that's why if you can take it slow today, that would be advised. Those continue throughout the afternoon, so that's 3:30, and then the line of storms drops in. That's your next chance for severe weather, and this one is going to be more widespread, so this one is going to be impacting a bigger swath of us at the same time. So let's say you had something penciled in for this evening. Go ahead and reschedule, because it's not a time frame that you want to be outside. So 7:30, the line of storms has passed Bryan College Station. Now they're dropping from Huntsville down towards the Woodlands, headed towards Spring. When could they get towards downtown? I'm thinking sometime between 10 to midnight. We're going to give a little wiggle room there because we have to see whether these storms kind of hang out along the I-35 corridor for a little bit or start to race down. So give it a little wiggle room. The general timeline is late tonight for this line of storms to pass through here. Then just a couple hours after that, headed towards Galveston. Now you're looking at a snapshot at 2 o'clock, could be as late as 4 a.m. So keep that time frame in mind in case you had a really early start to your Tuesday. That might be an issue along the Gulf Freeway, and then everything starts to look a lot better. We broke into programming ahead of the new newscast because we've been tracking some severe thunderstorms that have developed in the area. A tornado warning was issued by the National Weather Service, in case you're just tuning in, and that was in Waller County. So some severe storms started to fire off in Colorado County and then gained some momentum as they tracked towards the northeast. So this is just north of the Katy Freeway. I'll give you an even closer look there at what we're seeing. Definitely heavy rain, of course, frequent flashes of lightning. So these storms are electrified, and radar indicated potential for rotation. This particular cell is starting to show a widening rotation, which is better news for the area, but it's still something that might pop up later in the afternoon. So these couplets can widen and then they can once again consolidate. And so for that reason, just be on alert. Weather impact alert has that name for a reason, and it means you need to be mindful of the weather today and when it could turn from just a strong thunderstorm to then a severe thunderstorm. I'll give you a little bit of a wider view here as to the rest of the area. And a lot of us are quiet, so you might be getting this message now thinking, well, this doesn't apply to me. Perhaps not right now, but over the next few hours, it very well could. So this is just the first push of moisture coming in out of the Gulf, and it is ahead of a main line of storms. So I'm going to give you kind of like a bigger view of what is ahead for us on this Monday. So that's still on the horizon for us. So we've got a couple strong storms building in now. We've got some more on the way. And with this kind of environment, we have the threat of tornadoes, we have the threat of gusty wind, and we have the threat of some hail. If you're in one of the spots right now that is not being impacted by the storms, I would go ahead and try to make some preparations inside of your house and around the house. So if you have loose outdoor furniture, bring it inside. If you've got those Christmas decorations, make sure they're secured, because once the storms roll in, you're not going to want to be outside. In fact, anytime we see that red polygon that the National Weather Service issued, which is a tornado warning, that means you just need to seek shelter and the rest becomes secondary. So we're still under that tornado warning, but it is set to expire in just under 8 minutes. So at noon is when the National Weather Service will lift this, but for the time being, north of Pattison in Montevideo, that is where we were tracking the rotation. It really started north of Sealy and then it pushed towards the northeast. These thunderstorms for now are lifting northeast. And so if we do see any other issues, it is going to be closer towards northwest Harris County. We could see some issues closer towards Waller County, then into Montgomery, but that's just round one. Then we get a different sweeping motion coming in. So later on this evening, this line of storms that is passing through Dallas is going to start to make its trek southeast rather. So this is going to pass through and sweep all of us. And so we've got the threat of severe weather across southeast Texas for today. Once more, what does that mean for you? A weather impact alert means A, you need to be able to have a way to get notifications sent straight to your phone, because while this particular tornado warning may not be in your neighborhood, the next one might be. So download the KHOU 11 Plus app. That way you can not only watch radar with us, but if we see a tornado warning like this pop up, we could send you a notification and let you know what to do. How long is that tornado warning going to be up? What neighborhoods is it going to be headed to next? What are the threats along with it? Rotation can have some really strong wind impacts, but even a severe thunderstorm that doesn't have rotation It can still bring us some straight line wind impacts, not to mention there's the possibility of some small hail. We're checking in with the National Weather Service to give us an update on that tornado warning. They're saying that this one has fizzled out. The warning is going to expire with no replacement, which is great. The storm still has a supercell, but it's starting to weaken. This one is. And so that means the areas that were in the downwind of the storm, so headed towards the northeast, are in the clear. So that means if you were watching from home and let's say you were a little cautious because you were in Waller County or perhaps you were in Montgomery County, the rotational component of this thunderstorm is set to expire. Now you'll notice there's still that white polygon there. And that is for a special weather statement, so these storms are still going to be strong as they pass through your neighborhood. You're going to get some heavy rain, but it'll be brief. They're moving in and out quickly. You're going to get some lightning, so it'll be loud with the thunder, and you even have the possibility of some very, very small pea-sized hail. Now, this isn't going to be hail that damages your car or anything like that. It might, kill one or two of the flowers that are out in the front yard. So that's good for now. Now into the afternoon, we still have the potential of some of these gaining a little bit of strength. So that is why we're going to keep a really close eye on it throughout the afternoon. For example, right now the storms that are kind of building in behind this from Colorado headed again towards Austin County, these could start to gain a little bit of strength once more. So throughout the afternoon, we are going to maintain our weather impact alert. The National Weather Service is contemplating putting out a tornado watch. And if they do that, I'll go ahead and give you that update. Regardless of that, though, we're still under the Storm Prediction Center threat level 2 potential of severe weather. So I'm going to walk you through that here in a second. Rotation detector. One more check at it. It looks good. It's widening. That means the potential for that spin up to reach the ground has diminished. However, the biggest concern for severe weather is still ahead. So it's not even the lunch hour. We're starting to see some strong storms develop. We're going to have a long day ahead of us with all of these threats. Wind, an isolated tornado, and even hail. Evening travel impacts are pretty much a guarantee. So that means try to reschedule. If your family members had a flight in or a flight out, you might have to be a little flexible with pickup and drop off times, and they might be delayed. Throughout the afternoon, those isolated thunderstorms pushing in from the southwest to the northeast is what we'll be monitoring. Then we switch gears to this line that's going to move in, sweeping towards the southeast, getting to Bryan College Station by 7:30, getting towards downtown by about 11 p.m., and then pushing towards the coastline. Then the rest of the forecast looks a lot better. We just have one really messy day that is in bright red, which is a weather impact alert. Some of you at home may be thinking, it's not raining here. Yeah, it's cloudy, but it's actually really warm. You're right. And that warmth is what's giving us the threat for severe weather. That clash of the two different air masses, warm and humid here, colder, drier air coming in from the north, is what's giving us that line of thunderstorms. That's what brings us the threat for severe weather today. It wraps up really early on our Tuesday, like I showed you, during the overnight hours, and then from there on out, things look a lot better. So your Wednesday starts to cool off. Your Thanksgiving Thursday looks great. There's no rain, and we get a nice little cool down. But until then, we do have to be really cautious today under this weather impact alert. Rain is not going to be so much of an issue. You saw how quickly those storms were moving. So I'm thinking an isolated area could pick up about 2 inches. The rest of the area is going to get between 1 to 1.5 inches of rainfall. Yes, a few spots could get these severe thunderstorms. And right now, the Storm Prediction Center has most of Harris County included in that. It's a threat level 2 on the 1 to 5 scale. What this means is that any of these areas that are highlighted in yellow are more prone to seeing a spin up, an isolated tornado, some gusty wind with that line of storms moving in. A severe thunderstorm would bring us gusts at around 60 miles an hour, which could definitely do some damage, like breaking off tree limbs, cutting off power, that sort of thing. And we could see a couple of hailstorms. Now, the biggest hail threat is going to be for the Bryan College Station area. And then as that line of storms pushes through here, the hail threat diminishes, but the tornado threat still exists. We are going to give you another full update right now on our new newscast. And then don't forget, right after the new newscast, we have a live weather stream, 10 minutes breaking down exactly what areas are going to be at risk and at what time. We will see you then.
KHOU 11 starts right now with a weather impact alert.
And you are taking a live look at the radar where we have been tracking a tornado warning that was just allowed to expire. This after the system blew through Austin and Waller counties over the last half hour. Good afternoon. I'm Sherman Chow. This all comes as our team of meteorologists have issued a weather impact alert for today. Let's get right back to Kim Castro. Kim, you've been talking about this on digital. We've already seen these storms firing up ahead of the front. So what's the latest?
Yeah, right now we're just winding things down. So the tornado warning that the National Weather Service issued has been allowed to expire, but the rotation detector is an instrumental tool that we're going to use throughout this weather impact alert day. Anytime we see a little couplet tightening up, we're going to break into programming and warn you about what sort of action you need to take, which is going to be inside of your interior space. So you have a heads up. That means an area that is furthest away from the walls and windows. We've got the threat for these severe thunderstorms, which give us the possibility of tornadoes, which gives us the possibility of small hail and some gusty wind throughout the afternoon. Right now, the worst of it has already passed Mount Zion Church. It's along Skydive, Houston, and it is headed northeast at around 25 miles an hour. But there is more building in behind it, and there is more out ahead of it as well. So Dallas-Fort Worth got a big soaking of rain this morning. Now the storms are starting to drop down the 35 corridor, and eventually those will get towards us, which is why we've got a whole afternoon and evening of a storm threat. In fact, that main line of storms that pass through DFW doesn't arrive to our area until about 8 o'clock in the evening. I think it gets to downtown by midnight and then starts clearing off the coastline during the early morning hours tomorrow. Until then, we do have to watch for all of these threats, which means for you, if you had travel plans this evening, or if you're trying to run some errands, today really isn't the best day to do that. In fact, your Tuesday looks good, your Wednesday looks good, and your Thanksgiving Thursday does as well. Today is the only day that I want you to be very conscientious as we are under that weather impact alert. I'll be back to show you future track and time out this line of storms when I see you back here for the full weather forecast.
All right, such a busy day. Kim
Yes.
Castro, thank you. As always, download our free KHOU 11 mobile app to follow the forecast. 2 HPD officers attacked and wounded over the weekend. One was stabbed, another shot. The shooting was along Gessner Road late Saturday night. A motorist accused of shooting an HPD officer during a road rage encounter. The other incident was yesterday near Milam, where an HPD officer was stabbed. We have a big